If you turned on the news right now, I can almost assure you they'd be talking about COVID-19. The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, is taking over our world in almost every possible way. But what is it, where does it come from, and what are its impacts on the world around us? Stay tuned to find out.
This is the coronavirus. What many people believe to be the source of the coronavirus is a wet market in Wuhan, China. A wet market is a market where live animals are slaughtered on site and sold to people. Many people believe the virus originated from a bat. However, scientists cannot yet confirm the animal that the coronavirus came from. The first group of patients that came down with the disease at the end of December can all be traced back to the wet market in Wuhan. COVID-19 spreads through person-to-person contact. So if a person with the virus touches someone else or sneezes or coughs on them, then the virus can spread to that person as well. Some viruses spread very easily, and unfortunately COVID-19 does, even more so than the flu. COVID-19 can also spread through surfaces, but because viruses need a host to survive, they will quickly die once it touches a surface. As long as a person exposed to COVID-19 has spent 14 days in quarantine without any symptoms, they may be released from quarantine with no risk of spreading the virus to others. A coronavirus is any virus that spreads from animals to humans. The CO in COVID stands for corona. The VI stands for virus, and the D stands for disease. The number 19 represents the year 2019, as that's when the first case was discovered. As of Friday, March 20th, there are 269,911 cases worldwide, with 11,267 deaths and 90,603 recoveries. Most cases of COVID-19 are between the ages of 20 and 54, but older patients, those older than 65, have a much greater risk of dying from the virus. As of Friday, March 20th, there are 10,442 United States COVID-19 cases, and just like the worldwide cases, most are between the ages of 20 and 54. As of Friday, March 20th, there are also 137 North Carolina cases with 0 deaths. Today, the first case was confirmed in Alamance County. The mortality rate for COVID-19 is between 1 and 3%. Depending on the country's wealth and ability to provide medical services. For example, in Italy, hospitals are having to choose which patients to treat and which to let die because of the lack of medical supplies and doctors. This graph compares COVID-19 to the seasonal flu. People can protect themselves from COVID-19 in many different ways. First, people should avoid social gatherings when possible. When not possible, people should keep 6 feet of distance between each other at all times. Second, people should wash their hands with soap and water often for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, they should use a hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol. Third, people should cover their nose and mouth when they sneeze or cough. Also, people should avoid touching their face, especially their eyes, nose, and mouth. Finally, people should stay home if they are sick. The main symptoms of COVID-19 are fever, cough, and shortness of breath. If you have any of these symptoms, you should go see a doctor immediately. Personally, due to coronavirus, I am having to miss in-person classes at my school because it's closed down. I am now working on my classes online. Dance has also been canceled for me this week and probably will be canceled for a while. But luckily, I've been able to stay connected through online dance classes that many dance companies are providing. I work at the YMCA as an after-school counselor, but because the after-school is closed, I can't work there right now. I also work at Smitty's Ice Cream, and we are still open but only for to-go and curbside pickup orders. My mom is also not allowing me to hang out with my friends a lot because I need to social distance. I really hope that prom and graduation don't get canceled. Due to school being out, many kids are not able to get meals like they normally do. However, Alamance Burlington School System is providing to-go lunches and breakfasts for students at 20 of the schools in our school system and even delivering lunches to the bus stops for students without transportation. A lot of restaurants have closed down completely, while others are staying open only for to-go and delivery orders. This has hurt many small businesses that rely on customers for a day-to-day basis. The world is practically crumbling due to this virus. All across the globe, schools are closed. The NBA, the NCAA, and the MLB canceled their seasons. The stock market is crashing as well, which is hurtful to many people whose incomes rely on the stocks. Overall, coronavirus is pretty much hurting everybody, except for maybe hand sanitizer and toilet paper companies. The virus that causes COVID-19 is a type of zoonosis, meaning it has evolved to cross the species barrier. COVID-19 crossed the barrier from an animal to a human through the wet market in Wuhan, China. Some other examples of outbreaks caused by a zoonosis include the bubonic plague, the Spanish flu, and Ebola. Each pathogen that exists has specific antigens on its surface. Because the coronavirus is a new virus, our bodies do not yet recognize its antigens, meaning it takes a while for our bodies to produce antibodies that will destroy the virus. In order for the antigen to be detected, first macrophages will ingest the pathogens and then display antigens on their cell membrane. This will allow T cells to activate and bind to the antigen. Finally, T cells will bind with B cells, which will secrete antibodies. B cells will multiply rapidly through a process called clonal selection, producing either plasma cells, which are cells that secrete antibodies, or memory cells, which are cells that will remember the virus and be able to defend against it faster if infection occurs again. Antibodies work to either neutralize, stop the biological functions of pathogens, or they can cause the pathogens to clump together through a process called agglutination. This will allow the pathogens to be eliminated by phagocytosis. Immunity is the body's ability to resist disease or infection and depends on antibodies and memory cells. Natural immunity occurs from being exposed naturally to an antigen. Artificial immunity occurs when antibodies are produced through artificial measures such as a vaccine. Vaccines contain weakened or killed pathogens, which stimulate B cells to replicate and produce antibodies. When the body is then exposed to the antigens naturally, they will be eliminated quickly. The COVID-19 vaccine is currently going through trial, but it will most likely take up to 18 months before it can be used on the general public.
Hopefully by now you know a little bit more about COVID-19 and its impacts on the world around us. Be sure to wash your hands and social distance in order to decrease your chances of getting COVID-19.